Hello, everybody. Welcome to Healy for Beginners and Beyond for Thursday, October 24th, 2024. I'm your host, Jake Barron, Head of Operations for the Americas. And we have two amazing co-hosts on the call today. Henry Pena, who's actually, basically going to be running the whole call for the most part today, is here, our onboarding specialist. Very special episode today. And then Ken Close will be here as well, or should be here as well, here a little bit on the call. And we are going to take you through today an onboarding session. So we'll talk about this just here in a couple seconds, but in general, we're going to go through, we started the Analyze app onboarding sessions with Henry just early this month, and we wanted to be able to show a bigger audience what exactly happens during one of these onboarding sessions. So we will talk a lot more about that, of course. And then also for those of you that are looking for the translation here into Spanish, Henry actually does onboarding sessions in Spanish also, but today's is going to be in English. But if you're looking for that, look for that globe icon on the Zoom screen, click on that, and then change the listen in language to Spanish if that's what you're looking for on the call today. And just before we get started, as we always do on this call, begin with the different disclaimers. And note, we're going to be talking a lot today about the information field, and there are specific disclaimers related to the information field, especially the one you see here right on the screen. These are also available in our documents, manuals, and on the Healy shop as well. And we really wanted to kick things off first by just a quick overview of what exactly is Healy onboarding. So this started back in August, right, Henry? I think it was. Yeah, I think we officially kicked things off in August. And we started with the overview of getting started with your Healy device, which focuses on the unboxing your Healy device, also connecting to the Healy 2 app, running programs, things to look out for, tips, where to get help, where to get support, what resources we have, that kind of thing. And we started with that. Then Henry added a version of that in Spanish, which is available. You see here on the screen also. And then just a couple of weeks ago, we added the unlocking the power of the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app. And that's the newest one. That is the one we're doing 2 days per week now on the schedule. But if you go to HealyOnboarding.com or scan this QR code that you see on the screen, also it takes you to this page where you can then pick one of the meetings. Then it'll pull up a calendar that says, okay, it'll show the dates and times that these different meetings are held. Then you can pick one that works best for you. Very easy to do. And it's great. It's interactive. Henry does an amazing job with these, and you can ask questions along the way as you're going through these different onboarding sessions as well. So definitely check that out after the call if you wanted to do one of the other onboarding sessions, maybe the Healy one in Spanish or just the regular Healy one. But for the most part today, we're going to walk you through exactly what we're doing here with what would basically happen if you were to sign up for the Analyze app onboarding session. Henry's going to take you through that here today on the call. And this covers everything. The Analyze app is very powerful. It has so many different modules and programs that are available. So this covers pretty much everything. It's not a deep dive into every single section because there's not enough. You need more than an hour and a half if you're going to do that. But we cover resonance, aura, coach, Meridian analysis, and just in general, the science behind the information field and that kind of thing. What exactly we're doing when we're doing an analysis here. App functionality, advanced concepts, practical insights. And again, there's another QR code on this slide that takes you right to the page to book one of these onboarding sessions. But at this point, I'm actually going to turn things over to Henry because he's going to go right into as if we were starting an onboarding session as well. So let me stop sharing my screen, Henry, and then you can take it away.
Absolutely, Jake. Thank you so much. Let me go ahead and start sharing my screen.
Sure.
See. So there we go. Everybody should be looking at my screen. If you can confirm with me, Jake.
Yes, I can see it. Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So again, thank you so much for being here today. Today, we're going to be covering everything that has to do with the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app, as Jake already showed in the previous slide. I'm going to be talking, the very first thing is going to be talking about the information field. That's definitely huge. It's a definitely super important topic, because if we don't really understand what the information field is, then we kind of run into trouble, because we wouldn't really comprehend the technology behind the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app. Then after that, we're just going to be doing a quick overview of every single module, and then we're going to be doing a live demonstration of every module. And please, folks, remember, you can ask as many questions as you want in the chat. That's why the chat is right there available for you. So please make sure to take advantage of that, all right? So the very first thing we need to understand is, what is the information field? So for that, we actually have a quote by Burkhard Heim. He said, put simply, the information field is the link between mind and matter. Everything we do, think, and feel, along with all of our mental matters and topics, is stored in this information field. So he's a German physicist. He created this theory around the 1950s or 60s. He actually got to know our founder, Marcus Schmicker. If you've read his book, The Second Path, you actually will find that a lot of the inspiration that Marcus got in regards to the information field was actually because of him. So understanding this a little deeper, we can say that the information field is a network of information. It doesn't only contain raw data, though. It's actually information with meaning. It's created and interpreted by our own consciousness. What does this mean? Well, that it's actually coming from our own perception of reality, which is huge. That means that every single thing that we do and think, our aspirations, fears, memories, etc., as well as the things that we do, are contained as data in this information field, which means that it can be harnessed. You would only need the technology, which in this case we have the Healy, so that we can actually take advantage of that information. Now, there's the personal information field, and then there's also the global information field. Now, the global information field, it has to do more with a system of interconnectedness. So that it connects every single one of us with each other. And that's really how the Healy is able to transfer these vibrations. When you are when you're either performing an analysis or sending vibrations, you're able to do this remotely, because again, it's not only utilizing the personal information field to gather the data, but it's also utilizing the global information field as a network of interconnectedness, which is ultimately what allows for all of this transfer of information to occur. We actually have right here, a graphic that explains this very well. This was, again, another model, a 12-dimensional model that was created by Burkhard Heim, where he divided the universe in 12 different dimensions. So the very first 6 that we have at the bottom, where it says energy room, that has to do more with the energy room. It's everything that is material. So when we're talking about everything that is transferred via frequencies and energy, because let's remember, everything in the world is made out of energy. When we're talking about atoms and subatomic particles like electrons, protons, and neutrons, when we diminish everything to its essence, we're talking about frequencies. So that would be the energy room, everything that is material. And remember, material doesn't mean that we have to see it, because energy, a lot of the energy and a lot of the frequencies that we interact with in a daily basis, we cannot see them. It just means that it's more tangible. Now, then we reach the level of the consciousness room, which you can see at the very high level. On the last 4 dimensions, we have consciousness. But what links, as I already said, what links consciousness with this more material world we live in is going to be the global information field. So ultimately, this 12-dimensional model that Burkhard Heim created, it really is able to seamlessly combine scientific, philosophical, and spiritual aspects of life into just one single cohesive model. And we will see a little bit more of how this applies in our world in the next slide. So the very first thing I want you to keep in mind is this term, unus mundus. It's a Latin term that has existed for many hundred years, but it was actually became popular thanks to Carl Jung. He was a Swiss psychiatrist, very, very popular. He came up with a lot of concepts that many of you may be familiar with, like the idea of individuation, which is the process in which you kind of start uncovering everything in your subconscious mind so you can work on it and become a better version of yourself, per se. He also came up with the concept of synchronicity, which means that sometimes different events or coincidences that seem to somehow be related, they are actually related, even though there really isn't anything tangible that you could say, okay, why is it related? For example, when you're really thinking about someone and then you get a call from them that same day, that's kind of like the way that principle applies. And then the reason why this concept is important is because unus mundus, again, it has to do with a holistic reality where everything is interconnected. The exact same way that the information field connects us all. So these are concepts that have already existed for hundreds of years and very renowned, very popular, very famous and respected thinkers like Carl Jung have even talked about concepts like this before. So the thing with this is that, again, there is classical physics and then there's also quantum physics. And when we think about, for example, Einstein, when the first times that the idea of quantum entanglement was introduced, he actually called this spooky action at a distance because he didn't really understand how this was possible. He said that there was nothing that could travel faster than the speed of light, and that phenomena could only be affected by things that were within its environment. Then later on, and he actually created a paper called the EPR paradox together with other two scientists, and where he basically was saying this is not real. But then later on, through other scientists that started working on quantum entanglement, then they used these same discoveries that Einstein had, and including his paper, the EPR paradox paper, to prove that quantum entanglement was real. One of the first ones was John Bell. He performed multiple experiments to confirm the existence of quantum entanglement. And today it's already used on practical levels for example, quantum computing and cryptography. And again, the Healy utilizes the principles of quantum entanglement for the HealAdvisor Analyse to do everything that does. So when it comes to the analyzation of the information field. And then let's also remember that's what allows us to transfer everything remotely, because again, it also utilizes the principles of quantum teleportation, which this has already actually been proved. Another scientist called Anton Zellinger, he performed an experiment back in 2012 where he was able to transfer the quantum states of two different particles from two different islands in the Canary Islands, back in around the coast of Africa. So there were two observatories, one in Tenerife and one in another island called La Palma. So this was a distance of a total of 144 kilometers, around 89 miles. And he was able to transfer the quantum states of particles. Again, no link in between, no cables, no nothing. And the difference is, remember, when we're talking about, for example, satellites or telephone calls, we're still talking about frequencies. There are no frequencies here. We're talking about something that goes beyond our material world, which is why, and I get, a lot of questions about this, like, how is this even possible? It's because of the principles of quantum entanglement. And the thing is that the reason why we have classical physics and quantum physics is because quantum physics works with something that cannot really explain using the way that the regular way in which we understand the world. So it is crucial to keep in mind that there will always be things when it comes to the HealAdvisor Analyse app that we may not necessarily fully comprehend because of the nature of consciousness, how intangible it is. But it still is crucial to understand that a big part of utilizing this app is trusting the process. So this is, and I have another graphic right here that explains even more clearly and in a simplified way how the Healy utilizes the information field to interact with the end user, which will ultimately harmonize the bioenergetic field. So what's going to happen? We first have the physical noise generator at the very top, which what that represents is the Healy. Remember, inside the Healy, there is this technology called a physical noise generator, which is the one that's going to be interacting with the information field, as well as sending those frequencies and those vibrations. So what's going to happen is that you can see on the left side, you have the database of information patterns. Those are the databases that we're all very familiar with, the ones that you would find when you're using the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app. You go into the modules, you see that every single module has different databases. So all of that is information that ends up being vibrated into the end user, which it's on its bioenergetic field. That if you don't remember that, let's keep in mind the bioenergetic field is this field of energy, also known as life force energy. In Hinduism, it's known as prana. In Asian cultures, it's known as chi or ki. So basically, it is something that is still, it's related to our own consciousness. And if it affects our perception of reality, that means that it affects every single aspect of our life, which is why Healy focuses on the bioenergetic field, because it has the potential to affect every single aspect of your life. It's a multifaceted device. So it doesn't only uses the databases of the app, because then it would defeat the whole purpose of the analysis, because how does the Healy know what databases to use? That's where the information field comes into play. So the Healy is utilizing the information field of the user and mixing that together with the databases inside of the app to determine what is the best combination to harmonize the bioenergetic field. And let's also remember that in that very first link that you see, the vertical link between the physical noise generator, aka Healy, and the bioenergetic field of System B, the client, there is already a link right there happening with your own intention. So it is important that you, as the user utilizing the Healy or the experimenter, if you're working with a client, to understand that your intention also plays a role here. Now, if you're working on someone who, for example, a pet, who they may not necessarily be aware that you're doing something to them with an analysis, for example, or you're setting an intention for them. That's again why it is important that you, as the experimenter, the user, also has a strong intention as whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. There we go. So here we have a very quick summary. So again, the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app on your well-being, what it does, it analyzes the information field so that it can determine what are the frequencies that you need right now in this moment, which can ultimately be sent either in the Healy 2 app via microcurrent or electromagnetic fields, or you can vibrate them. You can vibrate these results and deliver them as positive vibrational information, which again, it will harmonize your bioenergetic field, but it's going to be less tangible. Remember, with the graphic I mentioned earlier, you have the tangible level, which is the energy room, those first dimensions that cover everything that's material, and then you have consciousness. When we're talking about the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app, we're talking more about this consciousness level, which it's a more transformational process. We want to achieve what I already said, Carl Jung's term, individuation. We want to transform ourselves so that we can become the best version of ourselves. And that's really what the Healy is going to allow you to do with this app. So to keep it simple, the purpose of the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app is, again, it will analyze different energy fields within your body, depending on the module that you're using. You will get different results, whether it's the Aura module, the Meridian module, a resonance module, but ultimately you will get the different results, which again, you can vibrate or you can run in the Healy 2 app. And keep in mind, this can all be remotely and you do not need any accessories. And then I see that Leslie's asked how many minutes, and I will definitely be answering that later because we actually have a graphic for all of you folks that will allow you to refer to this graphic whenever you want. And anybody who signs up to our presentation, our onboarding session, they can watch this whole webinar and get a full copy of the slide deck. So keep in mind that when you're using this app, you have the option to do analysis on yourself. You will have a me section that it will always be by default. The app will always be there by default, but you also have the option to create clients. Some of them can be people, animals, plants, and even objects. Why objects? Because let's remember, this life force energy which ultimately is just energy, because everything is energy, passes through absolutely everything. So you can still harmonize things that are not really alive because they still contain energy, which is why we also give you the option to harmonize these objects and the energy within these objects. Keep in mind that when you record a vibration, even though the app tells you that you need to place the Healy on your hand, this is not a vibration like, oh, I'm vibrating my hand. It's not about that. It's a vibration that it's basically a vibrational, your vibrational identity. So you do not need to be next to the person who you are who you are analyzing, because again, because we're using the principles of interconnectedness and intention to connect with that person remotely. So you do not need to have the Healy with you and next to the person. As long as your intention is set and very clear, it's going to be fine. Now, you're welcome as a user, if you're doing analysis, whether on yourself or somebody else, you're welcome to hold it, even if you're far away, because what that's going to do is that it's going to, because of the sense of touch and the principles of mindfulness, of being present, you do want to be present, you want to be focused, you want to be mindful. So when you're holding something and you're that object, in this case, the Healy, is touching your skin, because of the way senses work, it will allow you to be more focused on the fact that the Healy is there, and it will probably make your intention stronger. So when we're feeling all this information and we're recording the vibration and we're recording their name and we're recording their address, it's not so much because of the app needs this information in order to do the analysis, it's so that your intention is really set in stone. Because remember, every single, just like when you're writing something on a diary, and that's kind of like one of the things that they promote when it comes to thinking about manifestation, is that you write things down. We're kind of doing the same thing here. We're adding the information of the person here so that we have a really clear intention on who this is addressing. So now we can go ahead and get started and talk a little bit about every single module really quickly. Luckily, all of them are very similar in regards to the way they operate. And I know they can be a little bit overwhelming, but trust me, they all work very similarly. All you need to do is that, all you need to know is that every module will allow you to analyze, and it will allow you to, depending on the module, it will allow you to vibrate or send or transmit programs on the Healy 2 app. But those are basically the three different functions that you can find depending on the model you're using: analysis, vibration, or running programs. So there's no need to, overthink this so much. So the resonance module is going to be the one that will always have as the default focus statement, with what do I have the greatest resonance now? So the idea of this is that it will give you the programs or the databases for the specific program groups. And also sometimes you have a specific databases that don't really have anything to do with our programs. That's because the resonance mode is divided into 3 different sections. And what it's going to do is that it's going to tell you the one that you need the most at this moment, or the one that resonates with you the most. Something very interesting about this, lately I've been having a few kind of issues sleeping. And what I do is that I wake up at night and I have run the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app, the resonance module. And every single time, all 3 times I've done it, every single time without fail, I have gotten the sleep program group of all the 28 different results I can get from the all Healy programs. Every single time I have gotten the sleep programs, twice at the very top and once in second place. And in all 3 occasions, my goal was to get better sleep. I was focused on, you know what, if I need anything right now, is to get better sleep. And that just shows you how really amazing that can be. The fact that it can really be so accurate. Of all the programs, it tells me exactly the issue that I was having. And every single time I've used the Healy to run the sleep programs, I've actually been able to sleep great. Like, I actually feel very rested and without any drowsiness that may come with when you take medicines, for example. So it's really great. Like, I've been able to use it and it feels great. So that would be the resonance module. Then the aura module is going to be the same thing. It's going to analyze you, and then you're going to get to vibrate. You cannot run programs with with the aura module. You can only vibrate them. It's more, again, it's a little less tangible. So you just keep in mind that with this one, you will be able to vibrate once you get the analysis. What this is going to do is that it's going to analyze the 7 different chakras. So those are going to be the different energy centers that run through your spine. You're going to have different ones that you're going to have the root chakra, the sacral chakra, solar plexus chakra. You will get all different results. And remember, each chakra represents different organs. They all have different colors. They all represent different qualities of life. So if you understand this theory, you're more than welcome to investigate and kind of make up your own conclusion. But keep in mind that that's why on the right side of the screen, you can see that you will always get a present state and a desired state. And that's really going to be the best way for you to interpret these results so that you don't have to overcomplicate yourself with all of this information. Because you will also get the 3 parameters, the ones that say relevance, intensity, and potency, which they provide great information, then they can be helpful. But again, my goal here is for you to leave this session understanding that you don't really need to fully understand all of the data in order to actually maximize and take advantage of this module, of any of the modules. So again, the RI is for the chakras, and then the coaching module is going to be more about specific areas of life that you want to focus on. You're going to have a personal coach and a success coach. The only difference between them is that the success coach will contain additional areas of life, as you can see on the left side of the screen. And the cool thing about the aura is that it kind of keeps it simple. You don't really have to think that much. You basically just focus on yourself. You do the analysis, and then once you do the analysis, you get the results. The difference here is that you will need to set a specific purpose. Like you will need to choose a specific area, and I don't recommend choosing more than one or 2 areas, because then you're going to get a lot of different things, and then your focus is going to be very wide. So I do recommend that you focus on the ones that have the greater potential, which are always going to be the ones that are very small and orange, the ones that you can see right there on the screen. Those are going to be the ones you want to focus on, the weaker areas. So in both cases, on the ARA module and the coaching module, you will need to manually enter a focus statement, or you can also select one. I personally recommend actually adding one manually, because that way you can actually do it so that it aligns with whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. And once again, the cool thing about the coaching module is that allows you to be even more intentional and focus on a specific aspect of your life. When the aura module, it kind of looks at the chakras, which they all represent different areas, so you will not get such a specific result. So depending on what you're looking for, you can experience something else. And then this is going to be similar to the ARA module in regards that we're talking about another energy and a different type of energy field. Here we're talking again about the ki or chi, because when we're talking about meridians, the meridians, remember, are the pathways in which the following the traditional Chinese medicine, the same concepts that you will use for acupuncture, there are pathways where our life force energy is traveling through. And when one of these get blocked, in this case, when we're using this app, you will either get a result that it's hypoactive in a coherent state, or hypoactive. So hyperactive, hypoactive, or coherent state. And if they're not in a coherent state, meaning there is some sort of blockage, then what's going to happen? This may result in illness or discomfort, and that's basically what we want to avoid. And this is how this module can help you. It will give you information as to what are some of the different things that you can work on, and it will tell you different recommendations in different aspects that you can improve about your life, the different programs that you can run. It will allow you to vibrate them too. Just keep in mind that we're not going to be doing a live demonstration of this particular module because it involves the Healy, and I know many of us may not have the Healy. And again, it does take a while to complete, because of all the different modules, this is the one that does take a decent amount of time to perform the analysis. It performs like 3 or 4 different analyses. And then after that is when you actually get the final result. And it does take a good 3 or 4 minutes, for at least 2 or 3 minutes for it to be completed.
Yeah, Henry, I'll put the link in the chat. There's a great training at Healy Academy on the Meridian analysis for anyone who wants to go through that in more depth. it's a very impressive module too, as far as the in-depth analysis that's actually being done throughout that whole thing. So.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. So I see that Lynn said if we weren't paying for a subscription, we'll still be able to run the analysis. And you know, it's one of those things that you will still need at least the McHealy, the Meridian's module. You will still need the Meridian's module for the McHealy. Otherwise, you will not be able to do that. Because you can even have a McHealy with you. You can have a McHealy, but if you don't have the McHealy Meridian module, you will not be able to perform it. Now, absolutely, my pleasure.
Yeah,
And then
the Meridian module isn't a subscription; it's a one-time purchase for the Mag Healy too. So, yeah, it is. You know, if it's something that you're more interested in, definitely check it out in our Healy shop.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's definitely super accurate. Like it's very precise, and the information that it gives you, especially if it's something that you know that you're interested in, the idea of meridians, the way that each meridian represents a specific vital organ. It's a really good module, as Jake was saying. So keep in mind, every single module, with the only exception being the resonance module, will give you 3 different parameters. The resonance module will only give you relevance, which is the one you can see at the top, but everything else will also have the intensity and the potency. The relevance, which can be either positive or negative, will basically tell you how important a particular topic is. Keep in mind, though, that if it's a negative value, that means that it's a subconscious topic. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not important, because if we're using the principles, again, I'd like to reference Carl Jung here. If we're using the principles of shadow work is all about working on your unconscious, everything that's happening unconsciously, trauma, limiting beliefs, anything like that, things that you may not necessarily be aware of. So even if you get a negative value, you don't really need to discard it. Just know that it may not be as relevant to you because it's not something so tangible, something that is you're aware of. So again, sometimes it's really a matter of interpreting the results, looking at the full picture. And that's why ultimately you'll see that what I recommend is that you follow your intuition. Now, the intensity, what's going to do is that it's going to tell you how ready the person or yourself, like the client or yourself, is to work on that particular issue, how ready they are to confront it. In this case, ideally you want to get an intensity that is between 6 and 10, because what that means is that you are ready to confront that issue, you're ready to work on it. If it's lower than that, then it may be something that you're not really necessarily ready to work on or process. So you may need to be a little sensitive when it comes to dealing with that topic. And then the potencies is what's going to determine whether the subject is in the foreground, background, or if it's a cause or an effect. So the potency of all the different parameters are going to be the ones that are a little harder to fully understand. That's why we have a separate graphic here that is specifically for the potencies. So the potencies are going to be the ones that are causes. So that's going to tell you, hey, if I get a particular topic, a particular result, and it says D, that means that whatever issue that's saying, it's a cause. You need to pay attention to that, because that means that if you're able to solve that, you will probably end up solving a lot of other different things that may be the result from that, which is why we also have C potencies, the effect. So this means that if you get a result that is a C potency, you can assume that that is the result or the consequence of something else that was caused by a D potency. And then lastly, LM are going to be the ones that I'd say you want to just kind of take with a grain of salt, because they're really hard to interpret. They're not tangible. They can be a cause or an effect. They're in the background. So that means that it's not something that you may necessarily be able to really see. It's just kind of like happening as you know, in a very non-really tangible way. And so if you do get an LM result, it may not be as relevant. It may be just kind of like operating quietly in the background. So just keep that in mind. And then also keep in mind that there will always be a little number next to every single one of the potencies. That if it's a low number, as you can see right there on the third bullet point, 50, 10, or 1, anything that's like low like that, that means that it's a topic that has already manifested in your life. So you should be able to say, yep, that's me. Like I've experienced that. But if it's a really high number, it is possible that it may not be something that is very tangible or present in your life. So you also need to pay attention to that. So regardless of you get a DC or LM, if it's next to it has a really super high number, or it's a kind of like weird number, like a Roman numeral or like exponentials, if you see an E, if it's not like a very basic number like 5, 4, 7, 10, 20, then chances are it may be something that is not very tangible. So again, that doesn't mean you have to discard it, because once again, when we start doing everything, you're going to see a lot of it has to do with intuition. And then lastly, keep in mind that depending if it's a conscious topic or a subconscious topic, meaning if it's a positive relevance or a negative relevance, then you would need to run different transmission times. My recommendation is that if you don't want to really think about this so much, you just stick to short periods of times. That's going to be the rule of thumb. Short periods of time, usually as you can see, 37 seconds to up to almost 3 minutes. And you want to run them multiple times a day. So in the right side, you see 2 to 3 times a day. The other one says 6 to 8. What I recommend is that you don't become super obsessed with this, because if you find that running the vibrations multiple times a day for short periods of time doesn't really align with your lifestyle, while it may not be as effective, it is better to run the Healy than not using it at all. So if feeling forced to follow these specific parameters will make you feel like you need to do it, otherwise you just rather not do it, I really strongly recommend that you try to at least incorporate the Healy into your life as a regular habit, so you can experience the changes, even if it doesn't follow specifically the recommendations here. Remember, these are just official recommendations so that you can maximize its usage, but ultimately what really matters is that you use the Healy. That's what we really want. And then we can now go ahead and get started with the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app demonstration. You'll see we have many questions, Jake. I don't know if we've been able to answer some of them.
Yeah, I was gonna be able to answer most of them. So there was a question when you were just talking about like the DCLM as far as where we would see these results. So these come up next to the relevance, next to the intensity. When we're all on the far right there, you'll see them when you're doing an aura analysis, coaching analysis, or Meridian analysis. They don't appear for a resonance analysis. So, but you will see them next to it. And then that is also actually a setting that can be turned on and off in the advanced settings of the Analyze 2 app. Just like Henry was talking earlier about the negative relevancies, if you've never seen a negative relevance come up, it could be that you have that turned off in the advanced settings there as well. So if you go to if you just log into the Analyze 2 app at the bottom there, go to the advanced settings, there's a lot of options to change the number of results that are displayed, include certain things, that kind of thing. So you'll see them there. And as far as where we would find that chart that you just showed, that's actually a screenshot from one of the videos in Healy Academy. So as far as the DC and LM, I'll put that link into here as well. I put a link in earlier to the transmission duration video that Henry was talking about, referring to the amount of time to vibrate some of these programs. But there's one other video there that I'll put it into the chat here, but I think it's right next to the one in Academy that shows the transmission duration. I think it's actually, I think it's the interpretation of the analysis parameters video. I'll put that link into the chat here as well. Those are great videos. It's in the coaching module section of Healy Academy, but the basis behind these videos applies to the other modules as well.
Yeah, no, and remember, folks, ultimately what's going to happen is that I will be showing you all of this once we're doing the demonstration too.
Yeah. Okay. And there was another question here about, is it okay to do the vibration for a longer period of time, like more than an hour? So that's completely up to you, the person doing it. The guidelines that are in place are general guidelines that this is a great starting point for those of you that don't have more experience or don't have any knowledge. Okay, I should be running this one for longer. These are a great place to start as you get more experience, as you kind of see how your body reacts and feels for certain situations. Certainly, yeah, you can vibrate these programs for longer. That's why that option's there. If this was something that was harmful, there wouldn't be the option to run this for 8 hours or longer. So anything from milliseconds to hours or more, completely customized to as far as what your own needs are there. But that chart that Henry showed is a great starting point. Actually, that's sorry, Henry. Let me make your phone here co-host too. Sorry.
No worries.
Okay.
There we
Very
go.
good. All right. Let's see. Yeah, and then Henry's going to go right into sort of a live demo for some of these things that we just discussed here.
Should be there soon. You should be
Yes.
able to see my screen now.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see your phone now.
Awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and open the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app. Now, keep in mind, folks, that in order to use this app, you need to ensure that only the green light on your Healy is on. Only the green light. I've actually had a few calls in the past where they've tried to connect the Healy to the app and they don't manage to connect it. And it's because if you see the blue light on, that means that your Healy is already connected to either this app or the other, or the Healy 2 app, but the connection wasn't established successfully. So in that case, what you can always do is go like this on your phone and turn off the Bluetooth and turn it on again. So you would just press and press twice. That will interrupt the Bluetooth connection, and then you will be ready to connect to either the Healy 2 app or the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app only when this green light is on. So right now my green light is on. So I go to the icon on the top right corner where the Healy is and the little red Bluetooth symbol. And then I search for devices. And then I see that Lynn also said that she's wondering if she should uninstall the old HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app. And honestly, I would. That's an app that, I mean, the new app has already been on for what, Jake? Probably like over like a year, I think. Like it's been a while.
Yeah, I think it has been over a year now. But yes, definitely once you're up and running, you've done that initial transfer of clients from the device from the old program, old app to the new app. Definitely, there's no reason to have the other one sitting there, and it's not going to harm anything just sitting there. If you just like seeing it for nostalgic purposes or something like that. It's just always continue to use the new one because the old one is not being updated. It's not storing any information to the cloud anymore. So it wouldn't have any sort of history of what you're doing going forward.
Exactly. So yeah, you're more than welcome to uninstall it once everything is set up, once you have all of this set up. So in this case, my Healy is already connected. Remember, if you do decide to connect your Healy like this, you will be taken to the screen. You do not need to press where it says connect to another device, otherwise your Healy will disconnect. You need to press the little back arrow on the top left corner. So you would press that, and then you're gonna be brought back to the main menu. Remember, right here, we're in the Me section. You can confirm that by looking at the icon on the bottom left corner. That's a Me section that shows you pretty much all the modules that you have, and everything is for you. So if you run any analysis here, or if you go to the history right here on the top right corner, all of this is going to be, and you can see right there on the top, it says Me. All of that represents anything that is for you, your account. And remember that as long as you're logged into your account, you will have your Me section that is specifically for you. And you can go to your profile and add additional information if you have to by going on the top left corner. So in this case, I would go on the top left corner and you're gonna see my picture, you're gonna see my name, and you're going to see like some of the different information. See, there we go. So, and then the other thing that you would want to record there would be the vibration, because remember that vibration is your vibrational identity for the app. So that's what you would do it. And you would do the exact same thing for clients. So if you want to create a client, you would go to where it says clients, the second icon, and then you would press the little plus symbol, and then you would add the client that you want. And just like I said, I showed you on one of the previous slides, you can go and add them, and then you would add their name, their last name, and then ultimately you would add their photo and then also their vibration, which remember, the vibration doesn't have to be something that you need to record in person. So for this demonstration, I'm going to first start with the resonance module. And keep in mind, the resonance module can be used for the Healy programs, the Healy programs, and then also the database analysis. Oh, I see that Rita asked about the essential oils module. Jake, I don't know if you have information about that.
It's something being tested at this point. Sort of early on, there's been a few, or actually several people, many people around the world kind of be doing a test on this, and more details to come early in 2025. That's all I can say at this point.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much. So in this case, we have the resonance module, which just for demonstration purposes and to keep it really simple, I'm going to use the resonance module of the Healy programs. Now, remember, when you're using the HealAdvisor Analyse tool, you will have access to a lot of different databases, even if you don't have access to the actual programs on the Healy 2 app. So in this case, even if you don't have a McHealy, you will still have access to like the McHealy databases, as well as these ones that are the database analysis, which these ones focus on specific databases. So this, you can see, they don't really have anything to do with the programs themselves. They have Courage, Creative Homeopathy, Personal Growth, etc., but they don't focus on the specific programs that you would normally see on the Healy 2 app. However, if we go to Resonance right here, you will see that this one does have a database that says all Healy programs, animal programs, beauty programs, etc. The focus cannot be changed when you're using the Resonance module. What you can do is change your intention. You can change your intention, or you can simply focus on this one that says, with what do I have the greatest resonance now? You're more than welcome to focus on that one, which basically that translates to, of all of these databases, of all of these options that I have access to, which one is the one that served me the most? Which one is the one that would help me the most in this current moment? Now, you do have the option to change your intention, because, for example, when I was telling you that I got that result when I was sleeping, when I wanted to sleep, like I was having trouble sleeping, you can also focus on, okay, what would help me with this problem that I'm currently having? So you can either trust the app to give you what you need, or if you are pretty aware of a particular problem that you're having, you can set your intention to a state where that issue is not present anymore. So remember, you don't want to do your intentions in like, I want this, but more like, if you're feeling tired and you want to sleep and you want to be able to rest, you want to be able to say something like, I effortlessly rest and replenish my body, something like that. You want to do it in present tense, because that's really how manifestation works. I always like to emphasize, you do not manifest who you want to be, you manifest who you are. So you do need to take the steps. You need to be very intentional, very practical when it comes to manifestation. So in this case, our intention would be, let's keep it simple with what do I have the great resonance now? And keep in mind also that you can always go to the actual database and click where it says further info on this database, and this will tell you what the database focuses on. So that's very, very useful, because that way you will know what the database is for, and maybe even they can give you additional recommendations. Like, for example, the Healy programs tells you can do an analysis of all Healy programs, and then once you get the top result, then you can run another one that focuses on the one that is at the very top. So in this case, I'm going to run the analysis on myself. So, hopefully I will absolutely put my full intention in trusting the app that it will give me something that resonates with me. And then we are going to see what happens. Depending on the issue that appears, I will let you know, what, yeah, this is something that resonates with me. So in this case, I'm just going to say, with what do I have the greatest resonance now? That's going to be my focus. Of all of this, what do I need the most? So I go with all Healy programs, start analysis. So there we go. So in this case, we have different percentages. So the very first one that we got was the watch Meridian programs. So something to keep in mind about the watch is that the watch is a device that was already discontinued, right? We don't offer that one anymore. So depending on how, how passionate you are about the idea of running that one, you can. In this case, what I normally do, because the reason why, it's like what Jake was saying about the durations, the reasons why we allow you to perform different durations is so that you can adapt it to your lifestyle. Same thing. The reason why we give you 5 different results and not only one is because maybe the one at the top, even if the app says, this is the one that has the highest resonance, we still give you 5, we still give you 4 other choices so that you can see, what, of all of this resonates with me. So then depending on that, you can work with something. As you can see, the sleep program is third place, which, as I already said, the sleep program has shown up as either the first choice or second choice lately, but in this case, it has showed up as the third one. So in this case, I'm going to just run I'm going to look at the Watch Meridian programs database just to see what they contain, see if there's anything there relevant. Otherwise, I'm going to go for the digital nutrition mixtures and then focus on that. So then I'm going to go to either the watch or the digital nutrition. So I go back and then I start performing another analysis. So I'm going to go first to the watch Meridian programs. Let's see further info on this database. So we can see the description right here. It talks about the meridians. So this one particularly focuses on specific organs, right? So this is something that I am not super familiar, to be completely honest, with the theory behind what each organ represents when it comes to the meridians. I know every single one of represents something. So I'm just now going to look at the digital nutrition just to see what that one shows, the digital nutrition mixtures. This one actually does have a lot of different things. So this one actually contains things that are a little bit more, it's more descriptive. So I'm going to run this one instead just to see what we get, right? So if I run at this one, I will get another 5 results that will focus only on 5 specific programs. So we'll see what we get, right? So I'm going to go ahead and start the analysis. Remember, when you start the analysis, all you really want to do is be mindful of the present moment. Just be focused on yourself. If possible, you may want to set an intention. In this case, I just want the app to give me something that actually resonates with me, so that I can say yes, very accurate, right? So just know that the intention is huge. You do need to have some sort of intention and be present when you're running this. And if you feel something, folks, like while you're running this, if you feel something in your body, some sort of energy, some sort of, don't just go with the flow. Like just really just let it, just feel it, really embrace it. Because it is possible. I really think it's possible for some of us to be able to feel as the Healy is doing the analysis and running even some of the vibrations. So in this case, I'm going to run another analysis.
Yeah, and as Henry's doing that, digital nutrition mixtures is one of our bigger databases. There's 72 different programs in there. You'll notice some of them go really quick. Some of them only have, 8, 12 programs, something like that it's going through the analysis on. Others like digital nutrition or creative homeopathy, which is 300 plus entries in the database. That one can actually take a couple minutes to run as well, because there's just so much information being analyzed there.
So there we go. We have the results right here. And listen, I don't know, I really don't know, Jake, but I promise whenever I run this analysis, for some reason my face kind of like starts like doing something. Like I genuinely feel something. It's very
Yeah.
interesting, folks. So that's what I mean. Like if you do run this analysis and you do feel something, just just embrace it. So here are the different results that we got. We've got alkaline powder at the very top. So let me see. No, we're not gonna run it just now. So these are the different results that we got. Again, depending on how the program that you get, you can always focus on something on other stuff. I really don't know what the specific benefits of alkaline powder are. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Jay, but I personally don't know. So it may be something that may be useful. It may be something that may have to do with something that
Yeah, and like for example, again, this is one of the bigger databases, so there's a lot in there. And then for a program to be 69% of pretty high relevance for this
Mhm,
one. So out of all 72 programs, so that's one. You see, there's a bigger gap between that one and the next one. Definitely, this is something that would be great to go ahead and vibrate these
mhm,
programs, but then also
mhm,
to separately run this program
mhm,
back in the Healy 2 app with microcurrents and the
mhm.
electrodes as well would be a great way to go about that.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. And in cases like this, what I would recommend always is that, if you can vibrate it, just like Jake said, you will have the option to vibrate it, and then you would choose the duration, which, as I said, normally you want to keep it, ideally, you want to keep it short. You would run this, and you would get more like the positive vibrational information from these databases. But ultimately, if you want more of a tangible approach, which in this case, what I would probably do is that I would look at the benefits of alkaline powder so that I understand what the intention is, because I'm sure it probably has benefits regardless of whatever it is. You will look at that, and really what that means, you would have that as an intention, and then you would probably run that by pressing the little arrow on the right side. You would run it on the Healy 2 app so that you can get the microcurrents, which is going to be more of a tangible physiological approach that will interact directly with the cellular structure of your body. So in that case, that's how you would do it. And remember, you have the option to also do Healy programs, it's similar to the Healy programs, but this one's for the Healy. And then lastly, which is a very popular choice too, is to run specific databases. And some of these databases contain really cool information, which will ultimately be vibration information that can be vibrated into your consciousness, which ultimately will be harmonizing your bioenergetic field. And you can always go to the databases, press where it says for the info in this database, and it will tell you what the database does, and you can read some of the different positive affirmations that you get. It says, I am a good observer and listener. I am a team player and conducive to other ideas. I am aware of my qualifications and qualities. So just like that's the personal growth one, you can go to, for example, courage, and you will also get different things that, if that's something that resonates with you, if you consider yourself someone who may be shy or someone who may be having trouble getting out of your comfort zone, these are the kind of things that you have options. You definitely have options that you can work on. All you really need to do is explore the app a little bit just so that you can see what the options are. So that would be it for the resonance module. Again, you say, what do I have the great resonance with? And that's what you're going to get. The aura module, this one is the one that I mentioned, that it will perform an analysis of your aura, giving you the different chakra, the energy levels of chakra, and then it's going to focus on the weaker chakras. So you can actually go, if you go to settings and go to where it says advanced settings, you will have the option to select how many results you get per chakra. So it will say select number of analysis result for chakra, and you can select, in my case, I select 2 because 3 is a little too overwhelming. You will get 9 different results, which in my opinion is maybe a little bit too much. So in this case, I just focus on 6 in total. That's what I'm going to get. I go to aura. And for this one, I do like to first does a very quick general analysis that will just tell you which ones are the weakest chakras, but we still haven't really done the in-depth analysis which is ultimately the one that's going to tell you the results that you're looking for. This one is just very basic that simply tells you, hey, these are the chakras that are weak right now. So what do you do? Now at this point, you want to set an intention or a focus statement. So in this case, what you would do is, in this case, I have some affirmations right here that I have one specifically for the aura module. So I have one that says, I inspire others by demonstrating the remarkable benefits and transformative power of Healy. So in this case, I just copy that and I put it right here. I change this, select all, paste, there we go. So there we have. So remember, it's the app is not really looking at what you're writing here. It's really focusing on your intention. The reason why we're writing this here is because this will allow us to focus more. When you're writing these things, you will focus more. You can read it. And, you know, in this case, what I do is that I focus on specific keywords. So I don't have to memorize the full thing. So what I do is something like I inspire. My words are going to be inspire, transformation, benefits, power of the Healy. I inspire the transformation and the powers of the Healy. I kind of like that. I try to really make it so it's just like a very clear intention. That's what I want. I want to inspire you to use the Healy by demonstrating its potential. So the focus you make up yourself, correct? So you have the option, yes, in this case, you do want to add the focus yourself because, again, you do want to be intentional, Moises, definitely. So in this case, you would press, again, you would press continue, and then you would focus on yourself so that the Healy can do the analysis. So we press start analysis. And remember, I'm thinking about transformation. I want to show you, I want to inspire you. That's my intention right now. I want to show you the transformative power of the Healy. So then we look at the different results. Here's where things become very, very interesting. You can, by the way, you can look at the present state and desired state without looking at the parameters. And remember, the parameters are going to be right there under the name of the chakra. So we have crown chakra, and then you see the relevance, the intensity, and the potency. So even though the relevance is telling me something really nice, 92% relevance, the other two values are not necessarily that amazing. We have a 3 intensity, that means that I'm not necessarily ready to confront this, and D potency, which means that is a cause, but it's an exponential value, which means that it's probably not something tangible. That doesn't mean we have to discard it completely. Once again, the most important thing about all of this is going to look at the present state and the desired state and see if it resonates with you or not. So in this case, I'm going to first look at the desired state to see if it's something that is positive, something I see benefits with. If I don't, then I look at the present state to see if I currently feel like the present state is something that resonates with me or it's affecting me, that I actually feel like something that would affect me. So in this case, it says, so the very first part, it's always in the desired state. It tends to be a little more generic, but it does say desired state. Authorities such as the police, judges, teachers, and supervisors are equally empowered personalities supporting me. Okay, so in this case, it's not something that necessarily resonates with me a lot. However, I was yesterday in a presentation just like this one, where I got a similar result that had to do with authorities. Basically, you know, it basically said that any authority figures that I have in my life, they would have my back pretty much. And that is something that personally I find very valuable because, like, one of the philosophies that I like to incorporate in my life is what's known as effortless action. And with effortless action will come kind of like disappointing people sometimes. You know, sometimes you will try to do what your intuition says to do, and you may disappoint those figures of authority. So in this case, I still find relevance to this, but that's why you want to look at the other results and you try to, the rule of thumb when it comes to selecting all the different results that you get here, the rule of thumb is always going to be you want to select as many as you need, but as few as possible. So that's something you need to keep in mind. You don't want to just leave all of them unless you find value in all of them. If you find value in all of them, you're more than welcome to do that. But then what that would represent is that maybe your intention is going to be a little bit more spread out. So we don't necessarily want to do that. So then we can look at the other one. So this one, again, not a great intensity. It does have great relevance, not a great intensity, maybe something I'm not ready to work on. And it does has the potency is great. It's a C, which means that it's a result. It could be a result from this one. There is a D potency. And the value is a number 2, which means that it's a tangible topic. So this one actually, let's see what it says. It says, I am expressing myself authentically through my whole inner being. The person expresses himself through eroticism and sexually. The throat chakra is shining in sacral chakra color orange. So let's see, once individuality is brought into the world through communication. So again, the part that I see right here that resonates with me the most would be the desired state that says I am expressing myself authentically through my whole inner being, which again, it comes back to that part of something I am trying to embrace lately in my life is that part of me of effortless action, which again, that may bring consequences that may affect other people. But again, my desire state, what would be that I feel completely comfortable and fully embrace that identity, that part of me, my whole inner being, without really feeling like there will be negative consequences. So I do want to be able to express myself. So I do, again, both of them, you can see, and as I said, one is a D potency, the other one is a C potency. Both of them seem to be related. Both of them seem to be related. So it is crucial that you understand that, for example, if I feel this one is a cause, right? So if I feel that I have any sort of authority that is in my life, if I feel like they have my back, that would mean that I should be able to express myself authentically through my whole inner being. That's how you start interpreting these things. This is how you start kind of like connecting one thing with the other. And you can get very creative. I mean, you can look at this. If you're working with a client, you have to talk about these things with them. And then again, you want to kind of like explore a little bit. I'm supported by life. I always get what I need. And I am perceived as a whole person with my spiritual, mental, psychic, and physical aspects. So let's remember, folks, there is nothing wrong. Even if something doesn't necessarily resonate with you so much, you can always vibrate it, because remember, once we press that vibrate button, the present state disappears completely. So everything that's going to remain is going to be anything that's positive vibrational information. So you don't need to worry about receiving anything that's negative. You will always only get what's positive. So there you go. That's, again, this is how you would probably run this. This is how you will run it, depending on your intention, depending on your focus. And again, my goal here today was to promote transformation, to promote inspiration about this. And I think it is very clear, and I have shown you how these two results I have shown at the very top resonate with my life. And not only resonate with my life, but because of the different results that I got here, I was able to connect the two of them. Now, again, all of this, you are more than welcome to read them, but because of the time reasons, I don't want to spend too much time here. But that's basically the way you would operate this, whether you're doing it on yourself or somebody else. And then the other one that we have, which as I mentioned earlier, is going to be the one that will allow you to focus more on a specific thing, is going to be the coaching module. So this one is going to be a little bit more specific. So same thing, you can select the focus and select something right here. If you don't want to write something for yourself, you can always do that. But in this case, again, I do have one that is this one right here that is specifically for the coaching module. So I'm going to use that one. And just for simplicity, I'm going to focus on either career or finances. Probably finances. I think finances is something that's very relevant for the majority of us. I think it's something that usually is important. So I'm going to go ahead and just focus on finances. So I see I do not get all of this information with my chakra module results, and I cannot type in a personal intention. Cindy, it may be, since you mentioned two pieces of information here, you're not getting all the information and you cannot type the personal intention. My assumption, and again, it's only an assumption, but my assumption would be that maybe the text on your screen is really big and it's removing some of the pieces of information from the screen, so you cannot see some of the fields that you would normally see that would allow you to actually see all of this. So in this case, the focus would be I empower and guide others to achieve their goals, fostering growth and positive transformation. So in this case, my goal is for me to create an analysis that will provide you the reassurance that not only the reassurance, but I also kind of like can transmit that desire that I have, so you can achieve your goals and achieve transformation and growth. So in this case, I start the analysis, connect my Healy, make sure it's on. You would search for devices, you connect it, and then as soon as you connect it, it's going to immediately start the analysis. Just wait a little bit. So then now we have the week levels right here. So we have the strong ones, we have self-worth, we have potentials, personal relationships. So those being completely honest, those are things that I feel really, really good. Family relationships is weak, which is very interesting. Now, if I had to guess, why would it say it's weak? Well, I mean, if we want to get personal here, my family lives in Canada. I haven't seen them in a really long time. My niece was my nephew was born. I haven't been able to see him. You know, so these are things that I know that when it comes to my family relationships, I haven't been able to see my immediate family in a really long time. So to me, this makes a lot of sense. Really, really makes a lot of sense. So in this case, I could even consider running something for family relationships so I can, work so that I can establish a stronger, closer relationship. I can see them more often and all of that. But the thing is that I don't want the result to be super abstract. So, I mean, I could focus on finances still, since it's still, a weak topic, but just out of curiosity, because I've never really done it, I'm gonna do the family relationships one, just to see what I get, just to see if I get anything related to what I was mentioning. So I'm gonna go with family relationships. You can change how many of these you get. So in this case, I like to choose 2. I get 2, there we go. And then I start the analysis. And there we go. So there we go. Just quickly looking at all of this. And I've seen that some people, what they do is that they order this by potency. So they usually start with high to low, and that way they know which ones are the ones that are more relevant. So they usually, so in this case, I would go actually potency low to high. And if you go to low to high, that's going to show you the ones that have the lower value, which are technically usually the ones that represent better. So this one, even though it's a deep potency, it does have that exponential value. But let's look at the different values. I don't really like to do that, like the organizing this. I usually like to go by relevance. So in this case, I just wanted to show you that you have the option to filter this. That's going to be on advanced settings though. You will not be able to change this if you don't have the advanced settings enabled. So remember, you have to go to the main menu of the app, settings, advanced settings, and then you're gonna get the option to adjust this on the potency and relevance or intensity, depending on what you're trying to do. So for example, if you're trying to focus on things that you know that you can work on right now, then you would set high intensity to low intensity. So in this case, I'm just gonna go relevance. So we look at the desired states. Remember, the coaching module doesn't show you present states. It only shows you desired states. So if you're wondering why I cannot see the present state, it's because it doesn't show it. So the desired state of the very first one says, I optimize the relationship between boundaries and team spirit. I recognize the unconscious causes that make me feel taken advantage by other people. Okay, I take full responsibility for myself and my existence. I remain in optimal control and dominion over myself and serve myself the most. So this one basically says I need to prioritize myself and my own needs. Okay, I understand that. That definitely follows my philosophy of life. Let's see what else we have. I am filled with wholeness. I am wholeness in harmonizing and loving action. Again, if we believe in the principles of effortless action, which is something I believe in, technically, as long as you're following and you're actually in sync with that flow of life, you should technically, through effortless action, you should also be able to live a loving life that doesn't only affect you, but doesn't affect others in a negative way. So again, makes sense to me. This one says, I experience gentle, regular, and timely harmonization in the area residing. So this one, I mean, doesn't necessarily resonate with me so much. Let's look at the other ones. I recognize my imprints and ancestral claim. I dissolve my lovelessness. All right, so that one does make a lot of sense to me, because one of my main mantras in life, and this applies to everything. This is something I tell my wife. This is something I tell my family. This is something I tell anybody who is struggling with anger or frustration towards other people. I always say, love no matter what. No matter what. You love no matter what. And to me, this is something that resonates a lot with me, because I acknowledge that even though love is something that is a very important quality in my life, not only love for myself, but for all being, or for all living creatures and all things, that's easier said than done. I am sure a lot of us wish to just be able to unconditionally love and be someone who is able to just love no matter what. But because we're humans and we have emotions and we tend to take things personally, sometimes this is hard. So I do think, for me, in my opinion, it is important for me to be able to dissolve this lovelessness that may remain when we take things personally and we struggle to just love unconditionally. So then lastly, we have two more. So this one says, my fears dissolve in the light of divine love. And then it also says, I experience gentle, regular, and timely harmonization in the area of profession. So again, something to keep in mind. Remember that I said I'm going to try the family one just so that I can, the family relationship one, just so that I can see what I get. My intention was kind of split. I'm not going to lie, because my intention was, I empower and guide others to achieve their goals, fostering growth and positive transformation. But then I was going for the family relationships. And you would think that a lot of the results here would be things that would have to do with family. But you can see that not really, like none of them really have a lot to do with family relationships. They do have to do with boundaries. They have to do with harmonization of different areas of life, but they don't really have to do a lot with family. And it's probably because my intention just necessarily wasn't there. My intention, you can see the focus was, I empower others to achieve their goals, fostering growth and positive transformation. So a lot of these ones actually promote growth and positive transformation. They don't really have a lot to do with my family, because if I actually wanted to do something regarding my family, I can assure you my intention was going to be something completely different from what I chose here. So you can see the intention that I had, which was about growth and transformation, seemed to have manifested here. But the one of my family, the one that had to do with family, doesn't necessarily show right here. There's not a lot that I could really say that, this has a lot to do with my family. So again, then it would be a matter of interpreting the different results, look at the relevance, look at the potency, look at the thing. And if a particular result really doesn't resonate with you at all, or that will probably, what that usually means, and you can verify this by going to our Healy Academy, when you look at the different the videos that talk about the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app, you will see that if your intention is not really clear, you may get results that don't necessarily make a lot of sense to you, which in this case, I could definitely see that being the case, because again, I went with family relationships, but you can see my focus was set in a completely different thing. But I still feel that these ones represent a lot the focus that I established. Now, as I said, folks, earlier, we will not be going over the meridians because, again, it's something that not everybody has access to. I know a lot of our members do usually have a professional edition, a Healy professional edition, which will include access to all of those modules I just went over. But when it comes to the Meridian, just know that you will need the Healy. And the way, and then I'm just going to demonstrate this just so you know, you will need the Healy and you will need to connect to the Healy. That if you press search devices, you need to make sure that the Healy is on. Otherwise, it will just connect to the Healy. So it is important that you make sure your Healy is on, the lights are on like this. And then at that point, you will be able to connect to the Healy. So in this case, I will just go to settings, Healy, connect to another device. Yes, search for devices. And now the Healy showed up there. And then I could press right here, connect to the Healy. And at that point, I can go ahead and connect to the Healy and start running my Meridian analysis. But beyond that, folks, that's actually it. As you can see, I know it may seem a lot of information, but remember, the basis of everything is just analysis. And then once you get the analysis, you interpret the analysis, you try to process this with your mind. And then ultimately what you do is you vibrate it, so that what that's going to do is that it's going to promote the harmonization of that particular intention that you have, so that you don't have to work on these issues on your own. The Healy will help you through the power of positive vibrational information. Or you can also get the choice of running them on the Healy 2 app, which is, that's definitely something else you can do if you prefer to do that. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen really quickly. And before I do anything else, I also want to remind you folks that, let me share my screen. You should be able to see my screen right now. So I want to remind you that if there are any questions or there are any other things that may have not been fully clear, remember we also have another video that focuses on, it's a Healy for Beginners and Beyond, that it's a video that's available on our YouTube channel that you can always go to, where we answer all of these questions. Now, I did mention some of these differences. So it's like some of the questions that we answer here. We still have 5 minutes, so we should be good to quickly go over this. So as I said earlier, the differences between the Healy 2 app, the HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app, one is going to be more tangible, more, it will interact directly with the physiology of your body when we're talking about the Healy 2 app. HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app has to do more with consciousness, overcoming limiting beliefs. It's a more transformational app. When it comes to trusting the Healy instead of performing multiple analyses, remember, you are encouraged if for some reason the intention was not there and you get results that absolutely make no sense with what you were expecting because your intention wasn't clear, and you can acknowledge that your intention was not clear, then you can run another analysis. However, we do not encourage you to run multiple analyses to compare one with another, because it will never be the same. We're talking about quantum moments here. So when you take a group picture of 100 people, right? For example, let's say it's a company picture of 100 people. You're taking, or even a group picture with 10 different people, right? Your friends. You take a picture, 5 different pictures. Some of them, one of them is smiling, the other one is serious, the other one has an eye open. Depending on the picture you look at, it can be different. Just to keep it simple, that's a good example. That's what's happening. If you try to do multiple analysis and you do that, you are not only trying to prove that quantum states are going to be the same, which they will never be, but also your intention is completely somewhere else. You really need to have a clear intention. If your intention is to compare one result with another, then that's just not going to work out. Then the vibration of the programs, how long? we have that little chart that you can always refer to. When it comes to the genders, if you get a result that doesn't match your gender, remember that this positive vibrational information can still be beneficial regardless of your gender. Why? Because when we're talking about gender, we're talking about a biological thing. When we're talking about frequencies and when we're talking about information, we're talking about the very essence of things. We're not really looking at things from a biological standpoint. And you can always get benefits regardless of your gender, because at the very minimum level, it's all information or frequencies, and it doesn't really matter at that point. And then when it comes to the chakras, the different percentages that you get, remember that if you're doing a chakra analysis if you're doing a resonance analysis on the chakras database, you're looking at what is the greatest resonance, what do I have the greatest resonance with? When we're doing a narrow analysis, we're looking at which ones are the weaker chakras. Two completely different things. One is looking at the relevance, the other one is looking at the energy levels, and at the same time, the same thing I mentioned earlier, the moment you perform a different analysis, it will always be different. Quantum moments will never be the same, so you will never be able to reproduce them. So just something to keep in mind. And then, yes, you can run the analysis remotely. It's going to be as good as if it's done in person, no problem with that. And it's also okay to walk away from your helium phone, because once again, it's all happening remotely. And because the Healy is utilizing the principles of quantum entanglement, it will still be connected. Everything will be connected through the power of intention. And again, that global information field that connects us all. Lastly, I just want to end with a quote by Carl Jung that I know I referenced him multiple times today, because ultimately the goal of this app is transformation. And he says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. So folks, it is very important that you understand that ultimately what we really all want to do is to achieve a point where we all feel at peace, we feel content, we feel happy where we're at. And the only way to do that is to really work on all those things that may be happening right here in the unconscious, so that we can do something about it. Otherwise, every single little thing that happens to us that doesn't necessarily align with what we want, we're going to see it as a problem, and we're gonna call that fate. And that's not what we want. We really want to be able to achieve our highest potential and become exactly who we want to be. So with that, folks, that would be all. And I want to thank you so much for your attention. Jake, I don't know if you want to add anything else beyond that.
No, Henry, that was amazing. Thank you so much. Again, for those of you that have not gone through a Healy onboarding experience yet, this was one right here. Got a great feel for how these work now, and definitely please share. Well, this recording will be available on our YouTube channel. Should be by Monday, but please share this with anyone on your team that might have been wanting this, or just have them join Henry for a live onboarding session over the next couple days or weeks. Also, and just know we have this resource available for all of you out there. Whether it's for the Analyze app or just the Healy app itself, those kind of things are there. And of course, our tech support team and customer care teams are available via live chat as well on our Healy shop from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. as well. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone. It's great. I know a lot of us on this call aren't necessarily new, but it's always great to learn. All of us are at different places in our journey with Healy as far as how much we've learned or how much information, what type of research we've done, that kind of thing. And the learning never stops. This is a lifetime journey here at Healy, especially when you're talking about something like the information field and quantum entanglement. And yeah, we're here for you, and definitely love to do these types of calls to answer these questions. And we're all here as part of this one big Healy family. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Henry. And yeah, please look for this recording on our YouTube channel, Healy Americas and be on the lookout for our next Healy for Beginners and Beyond, which for anyone looking for the event schedule, that's actually at HealyAmericasEvents.com. That's where you can find links to our calls like Tech Tip Tuesday, trainings like this also. And then the YouTube channel is HealyAmericas.com. So definitely check those out. And we're looking forward to seeing you on a future episode. So thank you, everybody. Thanks, Henry.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much.